Well, hey there, and welcome to Homa Hangout Live. Hope you're doing well today. The sun is out, the sky is blue, and it's Friday. So that means we are here for you. Look at that, bars. All right, so we've got some special stuff lined up today. Super excited to have Augustine with us just in a moment to go through some attack hole stuff. But first, I want to go and draw your attention to this little thing here, which is the Homa Mag, which we released this week. But you can see here we have an actual hard copy of it, and this thing is beautiful. And I have got some of these to give away today, and I want you to have one of these in your hands, just like that. So this goes through tons of amazing stuff. We've got some great devs giving their pro tips. We have the CEO from Cyber giving an interview. We have a full-on article from Slow-Mo Games. We have the CEO, what have we got? We have got so much stuff in here. You really got to go and check this out. There's a couple of things I want to draw your attention to. What is up, Hypercasual? Good to see you here. So if you want to get your hands on this beautiful limited edition hard copy of Homa Mag, absolutely sensational content in here. You can't actually feel it as much as me, obviously, but maybe you can, and we will post this out. I have got 5 copies of the Homa Mag to give away today, and you're going to need to do a couple of things. So, first of all, right now, you need to like and subscribe to the channel on this video, and once the stream ends, you just have to leave me a comment in the comment box underneath the video, and then go over to mag.homagames.com and sign up, and you can get a peek of the online version there. So be sure to go and do that. Do all the things like that. So the first 2 you can do now is like, subscribe, done, right? Then go and visit mag, I keep saying that wrong, mag.homagames.com. That'll give you access to the online version. And then after the stream ends today, all you got to do is just leave me a comment using the hashtag HomaMag in the comments, and then we will check all the stuff's been done, and by random, we will draw you out of the hat next week live on the stream. Does that sound cool or what? Honestly, these are so good. You really want to get hold of one of these. It's an absolute beautiful thing. Jam-packed, and there's some fun games and horoscopes and all sorts of stuff. But first of all, do the like, the subscribe, and then I'll pop on at the end to remind you how to do this. But we really want to draw this to your attention. The team has spent a ton of time. We got such cool content in there. You really don't want to miss it. So Chris, happy Friday indeed. Good to see you, everyone here. So that's the lineup before. Okay, I'm gonna now bring on the main man himself, my new best friend, and Augustine. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining with me today. Hello.
Hey Kevin, hey everyone, happy to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh no, you're welcome. Thanks for gracing us with your presence today. It's going to be super cool. I'm really pumped for this one. Now, just in case anybody doesn't know you, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Homa?
Sure. So I'm a publishing manager at Homa for the last 2.5 years, and I've been working on a lot of hyper-casual game with many different studios. And more recently, I was lucky enough to work on the attack hole with the studio Redline from India, and we published it, and it's a big success. Everyone, we're really happy with what we've done with the game. So I wanted to come in here and do a little behind the scenes, explain a bit how we got there, and talk a bit about the game.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I can't wait. And we'll jump in just a sec. But of course, the Homa partnership with Redline, super strong. Little bit of teaser. We have the CEO of Redline coming on the channel next month to talk through his experience with Homa and how Homa helped us create the most downloaded game of Q1 of this year. Still right up there, but I don't want to steal any thunder. We're going to move straight into Augustine and the presentation today. But if you missed the start, remember to like and subscribe to the channel to start the first process of getting your hands on the Homa mag. All right, Augustine, I'm going to hand over to you, and we'll catch up after you're done here.
Great. Good, everyone. So yeah, welcome to this presentation on Attack Hole, and we're gonna dive in right away. So yeah, as you know, Attack Hole was a big game for Homa, but also a big game for the industry. It has been the biggest hyper casual game of this beginning of the year. It was published early January, and it has proven to be one of the top grossing game hyper casual game this year. So yeah, a few words about the studio. It's called the Redline Studio. They have worked from India. They're now 18 people. So it's a studio that has been growing and growing after each published game, and they have already 2 hits on the counter. And they've been 5 years in the hyper casual industry, working with us since 2018, on and off. And before Attack Hole, we had already 2 games going to pre-publishing that you can see them on the right, Hit Fist and Kick Them, which were 2 great games that I worked on with them, but they didn't make it. As you know, it's a tough industry to be in, and sometimes it doesn't work out. So yeah, it's the third time around that we got Attack Hold. It was our third game in pre-publishing together, and yeah, I think the message here is to keep pushing. It's not gonna work out every time, but we were getting closer and closer, and we had those games in publishing that were really signal of hopes for us, telling us that we could do it. And yeah, I think we tested more than 100 games together before Attack Hole, but yeah, it was worth it. About the game, so the genre is an arcade game. Based The theme is weapon and fighting. So you have your hole. So we're using the whole toy, which is working very well. We knew about it from Hole.io by Voodoo, Hold Master more recently. And yeah, we know that people love using this hole and moving it around with the joystick, collecting items. And here we thought it would be a good twist to add weapons, because it's a very trendy theme. We're seeing more and more games around weapons, gun, ammunition on the market. We know it's something that they enjoy, and that is very broad audience. Everyone in the world understands what a gun is, a bazooka is. So yeah, the goal is to collect as many weapons as possible with your hole. Depending on the size, you need to grow it, you need to upgrade it, and then you need to fight the boss at the end and kill it with all the weapons that you have. And if you don't have enough weapon, you won't be able to kill it, so you have to play again. So it's we have the perfect dose of frustration in this game, because the toy is satisfying, moving around the hole, collecting items is satisfying, but you're always falling a little bit short from killing the boss, so you have to try again. And yeah, it is this frustration that is addictive and bringing people back to the game, and challenging them to finish the level and get to the next one. So yeah, I think it was a good recipe, this one, and in the creative you're gonna see. But I think this little story of collecting weapons and fighting with them, killing bosses, and progressing that way, people really stick to it from the first build, and we were able to create a game based on this. Regarding the development, it started in September 2022, and it was published in end of December, so 5 months. And today it's going to be almost 10 months, yeah, that we're working on the game. The live shop team is continuing working on the game, improving it. And yeah, in terms of results, we're really happy. We're getting closer to 50 million downloads on Android, and close to 10 million on iOS. And it has been top one on Android and iOS. And today it's still in top 15 in both stores in the US. So yeah, we're really happy about the results. Going a bit on the agenda for today, so we're going to discuss of the product, obviously, because that's where I was involved the most, and we're going to discuss the initial concept, how we came up with it, and what we think work in this game. Also, the creative team did an amazing job finding new wins, lowering CPI, which allow us to have the scale we have today with the game. And then also discussing the data team that was a key key factor for making the game work, but the balancing of the game. Obviously, the grindiness made it what it is today. We're going to discuss the success of the game, what did it work, and also what does it mean for the industry and how we can make it happen again. And yeah, what opportunity Attack Hole represents for us. So yeah, about the product. As you can see, it was a pretty slow start from the pitch, the initial pitch to the first test. It was 2 months. So obviously, it's not something I'm recommending anyone. I think if you have a good idea, you should go for it as fast as possible and go to market in 2 weeks. So it's still fresh, it's still trendy, and it doesn't get done before you do it. But sometimes, some projects are a bit more complex than the other. And I think for this one, we were not happy about the first video, and then we were not happy about the first prototype. And we built up a bit of frustration around this concept. And yeah, it took some time because we knew it was a good idea, but we were not able to make it exactly according to the vision we had, and it took a long time with a few steps. And here you can see the first video that were done on the game, so it's only a very basic toy. But yeah, from this in this state, we almost killed the game. So I think it was a very important step of the game's life. The moment we almost killed it because we thought, okay, we're not able to make what we want. Like the camera was not right, the contrast was not right, the items were obviously not right, and we thought, okay, maybe it's also too close to hold.io. Maybe it's not worth it. But yeah, we communicated with the dev. We avoided a lot of frustration, but just following the feedbacks and going back to the drawing board. And we finally had a first prototype that, when you think about it, is looking a lot like the actual game. As you can see, the contrast is perfect between the very abstract floor with this very simple pattern, and the elements, the different weapon items are really, really contrasted and highlighted with different color. You have the yellow, you have the red, you have the green for the grenades. You already have a first version of the timer. So the timer also was something we were not super sure about, because it was said for very long that you shouldn't have a timer in Hypercasual because it was too stressful for player. But yeah, we decided to introduce back the timer because it was working well with our loop. Um, and yeah, we also had to rework the camera because, as you can see, it was too zoomed out. The control was super slow and difficult to move around. The camera was too noisy. But yeah, it was already going in the right direction. And finally, so 2 months after the pitch, we were able to get this first version of the game, and everyone was super happy about it. You had the end icon to help goal clarity. You had also the fake UI panel at the bottom, as you can see. You had a much shorter timer, only 15 seconds, to keep the player under pressure and challenge him to go as fast as possible. And you had the bigger weapon set to frustrate the player because he realized that he can't collect them. And the video you can see on the left is one of our first big creative win, and it came from the first test. And still today we are building with the team on top of those very successful creative from the beginning. So yeah, I'm really underlying this, the importance of having clear video with a good contrast, explaining the game as much as possible in one video, and also making it a bit frustrating, pushing fails if possible. And as you can see in this video, you understand the goal of the game. It's collecting weapons. You understand that you need to grow, but also you are doing it in a messy way. You're not collecting as much as you could. You're not doing the best strategy, and player is getting frustrated and he wants to install the game to do it right. So yeah, we were really happy about this first win. Looking back at some issue we had, the ending was not very easy to tackle. We started first with having a giant and throwing weapons at it, but we thought it was a bit weird because it was always the same, so very repetitive. It's just a tap control where you just have to tap the weapons to shoot at the giant. It was not very fun, and we got negative feedback from player on this part. So we decided to change it to a runner. And up to the launch, we were using this runner. As you can see, we had a little stickman character using the weapon. So first he uses the bullets, then he uses the shuriken, then the grenades, and progressing in the crowd like this with a multiplier track. We were not really happy with how it looked, so we changed it to putting back a hole, because we thought, it was the character was a hole, so we had to take it. And rather than killing humans, we would have just wood targets, which was a bit more a broad audience, and we didn't want to have something too gory. So as you can see, this was the actually the end of level when we launched the game, with at the end the weapon that you unlock. And we also tried in parallel to have the boss fight again, and we added it only as a boss fight in the beginning, so every 3 levels. And then we a bit tested the frequency, and people preferred having it every 2 levels, and then after every level. And so now the end of level is only the boss. But yeah, the message here is that yeah, sometimes you have to go back, sometimes you have to try several things. Obviously it's going to take time to develop all those different end of level, but in the end we're very happy with the results of the boss fight. And yeah, A/B testing is always a good solution when you have several options to test. About the game balancing, so it is a very busy slide, but here what we did is creating a very grindy staircase progression, because at first the way the game was built was very random. We some like In average, people would play like 3 times for level 1, and then only once for level 2, and then 4 times for level 3. So it was a very difficult level with 4 attempts in average, and then it would go back to like 2 attempts in average for level 5. So you had no constant difficulty progression, and it felt a bit all over the place. And also, a very important thing we noticed, thanks to the data team helping us on the game, is that there were no correlation between the number of attempts, so the difficulty of the game, and the churn rate. So people having to play 5, 6 attempts to finish a level were not churning, were not leaving the game. They were really, involved with it, and they were really wanted to pass it. So even if it took like 6, even 7 attempts, they would keep grinding and keep trying, because the toy was really working, because the whole mechanic was very satisfying. Collecting was very satisfying. So we used that basically, and we created this staircase progression to make every level harder and harder to pass. So you can pass level 1 in 1 attempt, level 2 in 3 attempts, level 3 in 3 attempts, but then it goes higher, and you have some levels where it gets a bit more easy to make people feel good, and not challenge them too much. But overall, we have this increasing trend. And this you can see all the upgrades that we touched mostly, the timer upgrade, size upgrade, power upgrade. And we only touched the cost of each upgrade, and like we tweaked the economy to make it to balance the game only based on the economy, how much coins we give player every level, how much coins is every upgrade costing for the player, so how many upgrade you can do per level. And have like hard blocks. If you don't have those upgrade done, if you don't have this amount of attempts of coins, you can't do those upgrade. And without those upgrades, even if you're a very skillful player, you're not going to be able to pass. So it was very easy for us to tweak the game, to balance it, to force player into playing the way we wanted, and playing as many attempts as we wanted. And this was a crucial uh, aspect of the game, because we were able to control how many IS would player see level per level. And obviously it increased our LTV a lot. Here you can see the launch build. So a lot was changed from the first to the last build, but here are a few main elements that we changed. So you have the level progression bar, you have the visuals feedback, all the juiciness. You have the new timer placement, which is much more visible under the whole. You have the upgrade system. You have a tutorial level. You have the intro pop up to explain the control. And also we had a few new creative wins using elements like real hands, icons, AI avatar, voiceover, SFX. etc. But yeah, we this was a lot of work done in 5 months, but we were really happy about the results. So we decided to push the game fast. Here you can see some results, some metrics, because I think you're also interested in that. You can see the results for test one. So if we go column by column, the first test made in September was only on Facebook, and as you can see, we had already a decent playtime, about 800 seconds, and already a decent RD1 above 20%. So obviously it's pretty low metrics, but for a first build with only one level, it was definitely a good signal for us, just to telling us that the game was the concept was promising. Then we went to pre-pub after only with the fourth version, so only four tests. And as you can see in those four tests, we really were able to increase a lot the metrics, reaching 1.8 K seconds playtime D0, 35% D1. Only retention D3 were not really worked on at this time, and FPS were still pretty low, but it was only Facebook stats at the moment. Then for the launch build, you can see that we had taken a serious hit in terms of metrics, because moving from Facebook to other networks and gaming networks, and also starting scaling the game damaged a lot our metrics. But yeah, the LTV was still there. We were getting good, stable ads impressions. So we decided to keep pushing the game as much as possible. And now post launch, as you can see, we did 5 other versions in the past months that we pushed, and we went back to a much better playtime level and retention D1 level, and FPS were increased as well. And what we're tackling now is the retention D3. We're working on a more live update to keep upgrading the game. And I think yeah, with a game with Attackle, when you see that we keep having a very large scale even today, it's worth having a fully involved team on the studio side and on the publisher side to help the game perform as much as possible. So yeah, just a quick sneak peek on the product post launch. We keep having good creative win, as you can see with here, realistic assets which are not in the actual game, but we faked it for the creatives. We added a level 0, as you can see here, with only bullets, which doesn't have a timer, and is just to explain player how to play. You can see some of the A/B tests we had. We had overall 20 wins in the in A/B test in the first months post launch, and today must be even more. And as you can see, we're testing every aspect of the game: how many gems you win after a level, how many attempts you are forced to do every level, how many weapons you collect, how many times you spend in every level, add pressure. Obviously, we had also a lot of ASO win with the. We tested 10 different icons, and this one is the best at the moment. We tested a lot of screenshots, a lot of descriptions, a lot of stuff that can help us with the conversion rate and the organic downloads. And we also added a lot of content, as you can see, with gems, with no internet pop-up, with the IAP shop, with the Wheel of Fortune, with gifts and skins to claim. So yeah, a lot of new content. And yeah, this is the last slide. It was here I wanted to discuss the genesis of Attackroll, how we came up with the idea, and how the industry is kind of feeding itself and regenerating itself. The main reference for Attackroll was Horde Master that were done last year by Rolik, and we really enjoyed the fact that you had those items that were very organized. You had the different bills and the different coins with different colors and the different gold bar, and you would pass with the hole and collect all those things, and have this the money theme that everyone understands as well, like you want to eat as much money as possible, get as rich as possible. And they used also an arcade idol loop, and we decided to to use as well this whole mechanic, but have a different theme, which was the weapon theme, which is overall a bit more male oriented, but still keeping it cartoony, and so having as big an audience as possible. And more recently, we published another game called Hole and Field, which is currently in the top charts as well. And same, they are using the same hole mechanic, the same loop as Attack Hole, but collect as much as possible in a limited time, and then have the end of level. And but here it's also again changing the theme, going from weapons to food and other types of items. And what I'm saying here is that, yeah, if you have a toy that is pleasing for people, that is having a good marketability from the CPI, but also a lot of replayability, and you can like build content around it. You should try to pivot it as much as possible. And we did a second game based on Attack Hole only a few months later, and it's still doing very good and being very profitable. And we're very happy about this twist. And I think there is opportunities to keep doing it with other games. More recently, we've seen the game Merge Miners by Supersonic that was out last year, and was a very strong game with a very strong double mechanic of first merging and then launching the missiles and digging. Here it was with shovels. Has been pivoted by Monday off with merge bullets, and changing the shovels by another element, which are the weapons, and reusing it. And yeah, we believe at Homa that there is this winning formula that we are aware of, and we're able to see in a game pivot potential, and yeah, making the new games of tomorrow based on what is working today and what worked before. And yeah, I think it's a message of hope. There is still a lot of good game to be done. And yeah, every day with the team, and we're brainstorming on finding new concepts for new game. And yeah, we see a lot of potential. And I think keeping being on top of the trend, playing games every day from the top shots will help you, and seeing which toys are worth using again. And hopefully you'll make the next Attack Hole. Thanks a lot. It's all for me, Kevin.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks for that really thorough breakdown there. And I think it's quite obvious for people to see the power of the Homer machine all come together with all the different departments, from the data team to the ASO team to, of course, you guys in publishing, through absolutely everybody across the company, all pulling together to make this such a massive juggernaut of the App Store this year. If you do have any questions, everyone, just do get them in the chat and we'll answer them now. It's a great opportunity to quiz Augustine while he's here. That would be absolutely awesome. I think what the other thing was, it was, for me, it was the real humble beginnings of that nasty looking prototype. I'm sure they won't mind me saying that was like as basic as you can get. But we saw there on the numbers that you saw something in it, and I think that it's often, I think you guys are often sort of the unsung heroes a little bit, because you're almost the gatekeepers to the prototypes going through the various stages. What especially, I'm sure everyone would want to know, what are you really looking for when a prototype comes in? Because I'm sure everyone like me were thinking, well, that didn't look very good. But what is it that you see that would really sort of pique your interest? Is it purely the numbers, or what is it that you're looking for when a prototype comes in?
Well, not gonna lie, the first version I saw, the video I showed you with the very ugly assets, yeah, it gave me little hope that it would work, because obviously in these states it wouldn't work. I think it's really, you need to you're gonna have a prototype version, which is not a finished version. It can't be as, it's never gonna be as polished as a published game, obviously, because you work 2-3 weeks on it. So it's limited in terms of polishing and in terms of content. Um, But at the same time, the difficult game is that we are against uh, other games that are published and have had time to be polished and be finished, and we have we're competing with them in a way because we want player to install our game even if it's a very early version. So we still have very high standards in terms of visuals. Obviously, it can't look too bad. It needs to be appealing to people in the visuals. I think what you can restrict on and like save time on is more on the build, the APK. The game doesn't have to be very enjoyable. It doesn't have to to have a lot of content. And as I said with Attack Hole, it was only one level, so one very big platform filled with weapons, and you had a very long timer, like 1 minute, and you could just go around and eat as many as you wanted, and then I think you didn't even had an end of level. You would just go back to the same level again. But player were even enjoying that, like just the simple toy of getting like the physic of having items falling in the hole and growing the hole, eating more items, were interesting enough. So in this case, it was a very refined product already, because even with limited time spent on it and only one level, we were able to catch player interest. It can't always be like that. Sometimes it's gonna be what is gonna make the difference is like you have an element that is new, an innovation that people never seen in other games, so they want to install your game. Sometimes you're gonna have very cool visuals, so it's gonna catch the eye of the audience, and they're gonna play it. And sometimes with Attack Hole, it's more on the very simple loop that from the start is catchy and get player playing even if it's one level. So yeah, we're looking for different things. I think here what you need to keep in mind is that um, it's worth testing. I think you need to have strong concept. You need to believe in your concept. But once you start working 2 weeks on it, you're not gonna kill it, because no one can say if it's gonna work or not in the end. And Attack Hole, we wanted to kill it. Like we weren't. I wasn't really sure it was worth testing. The dev wasn't really sure it was worth testing. And imagine if we wouldn't have tested it, obviously we would have missed a very big game of this year. So yeah, the thing is, you need to believe in your concept from the start and think that it has something new and something interesting to try. But once it's done, even if it's ugly, even if it's low content, just test it, and then we can check the data for you, analyze it, and tell you, is it worth continuing or not. I think that's also the big strength of the publisher, seeing 100 games a day. So being able to say, okay, this one, it's we're too far from targets, we need to kill this one, even if it has very bad stats, very bad CPI. Maybe there is something interesting there, and maybe it might be worth testing again. And this is something difficult for for small developers or for small team, don't have the global vision and don't really know if their game is has something or not. So I think we have this vision from above, saying, okay, this game is different from the other, and we think we need another test.
And that's how you answer a question. Oh my goodness, there's so many things I want to pick up on there. So, going right back to the beginning there, I think one of the main things that I got from that is that if your game is just fun inherently, of that core loop, just repeating and doing and doing and doing, you can, in unique circumstances, people will forgive the graphics to a certain degree. But if
Yep.
you've got a minute's worth of a level and we see people playing 7, 8, 9 minutes of it, then that sparks the interest.
Yep.
But always sort of level up your graphics as much as you can for the baseline, especially where we are in the market right now, where we demand a better quality. I will get to everyone's questions in a minute, and I will go through those. The second point that I think that I really want to make sure is emphasized here about the experience that you guys have in the publishing team when you see prototypes, because I know people are testing and it's always gutting when you have to kill the product and you say, oh, this is the prototype, this is the one, this is the one, and it dies again, you have to remember that we don't want to kill anything, but the experience of the team knows that it's only going to go so far, and it's not, you're better off killing it and coming up with a different idea. And it is kind of brutal, but this is where publishing with the likes of Homer and the team and the experience we have of publishing many top games, that we know it's not going to work, and we're saving everybody's time and effort in killing them at the process for you to get onto the next one. There's so much to unpick from that. I think we could do a whole string on your whole stream on your answer there, Augustine. But I'm going to get to the questions here before they get out of control. Keep them coming in if you have them. I'm going to read them out like a potato, like I always do. I would like to ask from Love, Fun and Food, what do you think, after all, the main success behind Attack Hole, which makes it a hit game? Well, we've covered some of that, but what would you say? What would be your top thing out of that?
Um, so the main success in terms of results that we got for me would be number of installs. Uh, I think that's
Yeah, I
the most
think
big story.
I think what the question is like, what's that? And it's very hard to, and I'm not sure you can sort of nail it down to one thing, but I think it's like, what's the thing that you think? Why do people love it so much? I guess.
Yeah, I think one thing is going to be difficult. I think in the way it's I think the big innovation of Attack Hole is the loop and the pace that we kind of like reinvented. Nothing groundbreaking, because when you think about it, the whole mechanic it already existed. It was in Master. It was in Hole.io. So this is not it. And since then, we've tried other a lot of game. Believe us, on the store, I'm seeing like volcano hole, city hole, sand hole. Like we've seen a lot of copycat with the whole mechanic, which is well done but doesn't work. So this is not it. We The weapon theme, people are not going to install a game just because there is weapon. Obviously it's a plus, like it's something trendy, and there is a lot of games with weapons, and military theme is big, so it obviously increase the chances of having your game working to have it. But it's not the innovation. I think where Attack Hole is different from other games is in the loop that we created, that doesn't resemble any other game before, for like subtle elements. For example, the timer. I think the timer, it was, from my experience, it's one of the only game with a timer that has been working in the past years. I would say, maybe I'm forgetting some games, but I would say, yeah, the timer was kind of new again, was coming back, and the timer creates the pace. It's You have 20 seconds to collect as much as you can. So you collect as many weapon as you can. Depending on how many bullets, let's say you collect 50% of the map, you kill 50% of the giant, and you collect 50% of the coins. And with the coins, you can do the upgrade. So, and the upgrades are a guarantee. Is a guarantee for you that you're gonna enjoy more and like be better at the second start. So it's kind of a roguelite way of playing. Like, you play, you fail, and we force player to fail. Like, you have a limited time to finish the level, and it's not enough time. So this is important, like forcing people to fail in the first attempt, to then make them play again. But we tell them, okay, you have to try again from scratch, but we give you more upgrades. It's something that we've seen, for example, I think, yeah, a good example would be Bucket Crusher from Voodoo, was also a big success. And it was not about the timer; it was about the oil. I mean, the fuel that you had. And when you were out of fuel, you couldn't play, so you had to start over and destroying again the building. And yeah, I mean, in a way, it's a similar loop than Bucket Crusher, uh, forcing player to come back. And I think it's those small level that you don't have time to finish, and you have to do several attempts. This grindiness, I think, is one of the key of Attack Hole, because if it was like one giant level with no timer, people would, I'm sure, would enjoy the game for 10 minutes, but they wouldn't come for back for so long, and the game wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, that's super insightful, and yeah, that timer typically, you're right. I can't think of another game that actually did particularly well because they feel almost like anxiety-driven sort of a thing, and it's that balance between making it addictive and without like uh,
Stressing them out.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
say it without swearing, just like annoying you, sort of thing. It's just
yeah,
like it's that fine balance between this is really annoying. I'm throwing my phone, but oh no, now I want to have another go, and you can see your progress, and like the 50% there, then you know you've got just a bit more. And yeah, yeah, that's another great answer. And just to mention, Whole.io and the Rollic one were inspired by Donut County, so they weren't the
yeah,
original ones as well. So that's
sure,
just
sure.
worth mentioning. Okay, there is a ton of questions, and I really want to get to them. So, Frantic Thumbs, what is up, Frantic Thumbs? How much support did Homer provide the developer in the early stages? Did you offer tech support with Unity, or was it just more marketing?
So no tech support in the first steps. Building the game is entirely up to developers. Basically, the team, the entire team of Attack Hole, up until the point where we decide to pass the game to pre-publishing, it's gonna be only the studio and me. So if the studio is two people, it's gonna be three people, me and the studio. But yeah, it's so me. Obviously, I'm not helping with the tech. I'm not gonna code for you. I'm gonna give you insight on the trend and genre and guiding. The idea of Ataco was from our side. So Redline was a very strong studio and a very good partnership, and we know that we were on the same page vision wise, and they had a lot of experience in the industry. And I pitched them basically, okay, I think it would be a good idea to do Hoardmaster weapons with a more challenging loop. And then they came up with the rest. They came up with the timer. They came up with the giant, um, and the level. They came up with the level design. They came up with the art style. So yeah, it's really a combined work. We come up with the market knowledge and the trends, and we push concepts. And yeah, the studio can also obviously push concept as well. But then yeah, we guided really on the product, on also with feedbacks, helping to build all those different versions. And marketing and data support come only after we pass the game to pre-publishing.
Right. So what we're saying is that the initial stages before pre-publishing, it's really the responsibility of the developer. But of course, once you get past that stage, you have the whole machine of Homer, all our tech teams and everything to help you.
Yeah,
If you need assistance, we're there to assist you. You know, we don't. It's not always the way. We get resources to you, and it's in everybody's interest to. If you need help, then we have the top people in the industry to help you with any tech solutions you might need. All of that, all of those resources are at your disposal, and of course, like we said, the marketing as well. But we do, of course, offer any technical support once we get to that point. I think we're going to have to go a little bit quicker on these questions. I hope that's okay, Frantic. Sharaf Koligi, what is up? You said you tested in Facebook. Out of curiosity, why not TikTok or Google?
yeah. I'm not responsible for the strategic decision there. TikTok, sorry, Facebook is a network we know well, and we have a very good benchmark on it. We've been tested on it for many years, so we can say exactly what a CPI is worth on TikTok on any day of the week, and depending on in every country as well. So it's easy for us to say, okay, this CPI in the States on Android, it's worth this. And we also know the Facebook audience that is different from network to network. So I think it's just experienced from this studio, from this network. We know also that it's one of the biggest one. And maybe TikTok. It doesn't look like it, but maybe TikTok could disappear one day, whereas Facebook seems a bit more implanted and there to stay. So yeah, for us, it's a solid partner for testing testing game, and yeah, we have no reasons to change at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the other, and you touched on it then, it's the consistency. So we know exactly, we have a vast amount of experience and data testing on the platform. So we know what we're looking for when those
Yeah,
results come through. The newer platforms, it's all, there's a ton of variants that come into the mix. And, if we did do that, it might not be a fair test for you. Chris at Red2, what is up, Chris? What is the average phone game making in revenue in the first 3 months now? I'm not sure that can be answered very easily. Um, it's so difficult to answer those questions because it all depends. One game could be wildly different to another. So I think we should just swerve around that one, not because we're holding back. A, it doesn't really help you that much, and B, it wildly varies depending on the game. Elbow,
yeah,
I will read that one out. Go on, Augustine. Sorry.
yeah. No, sorry, but the revenue also, it's not really what you're going to be looking at, because you can have tons of revenue, but if you spend, if your spend is equal to your revenue, obviously you're not going to make any money. So yeah, I wouldn't really focus on revenue.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. If the CPI, Hot Pixel says, what is up, Hot Pixels? If the CPI of a game is high, like larger than $2, and the LTV metrics are promising, say 30% day one and 14 minutes playtime, is it worth giving it a shot?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's another way of working. I think in those, in those, with those metrics, we would more consider it a hybrid game, or even, almost a casual game. It obviously has a shot, and we are working on the same game with higher CPI, but also higher in-game stats. Yeah, obviously Attack Hole is a classic hyper casual game, and that's what I'm focusing on personally. But yeah, it's two different types of game, two different way of working with on them. Um, yeah,
Yeah, great answer. I think $2 is kind of steep though, so be interesting to see if there's any quick wins on that CPI. But yeah, if big play time, great test. That's why we test. That's why we test. Um, da, 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 da. Just trying to pick through. What is the ideal lifetime value for a game of 35 cents CPI?
ideal. So it depends on which day. So yeah, once again, we're discussing strategy here, but obviously the sooner you're profitable, the better. I guess you don't have to be profitable on D0, so you don't need a 35 cents on D0, but it would be good to start at least 20 cents, 25 cents if you want to make any money with your game. So yeah, maybe 25 cents D0, and seeing how well it matures. Some games mature very well up to D7, D14. A lot of hyper casual game, after D3, there is not enough people to make it work. So yeah, we try to, with classic hyper casual game, we try to recover as much of our CPI in the day 0 to D3.
Great. Thanks to Elbow for answering a ton of these questions. Appreciate you. Let's go down to Pedro Gonzalez. What is up, Pedro? For the prototype, how polished should the game be so it can get the right attention and gets its full chance in testing? Now, we have touched on that, but it's worth iterating again. How polished should the game be when, for the say, the first test?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a bit tough here, but I think it should look almost like the final visuals, and it's the hardest thing. But um, we were able to use Attack Hole creatives from test one up to the launch. So, from test one, we had already the correct assets. We obviously, after that, we added some juice, some visual feedbacks, some particles, a little magic to make it better. But all the main elements needs to be there. You need to have your good contrast. You need to have the background is there. The different items are there. An outline like it. I think stuff that you don't have to focus on for the first test, visually speaking, is the UI. You can obviously like skip the UI for a first test, but yeah, for the rest of the the visuals, it needs to be almost ready to be launched, because sometimes it can go very fast, and it's I think it's obviously the first thing people are going to look at. And CPI is still a key value for us. So if we have a good CPI, we can make your game work. No worries.
Yeah, great answer. Real talk. So yeah, you need to up your game. We just it does have to be as close as best you can make it without spending 17,000 weeks trying to polish up a couple of bits here and there. So you need to be thinking about your CPI videos. How's it looking in the CPI videos? Does it look a bit rubbish? And that gives you the answer. If it's not as good as what it was in your mind's eye, without spending 100 years, like I said, then try and make it as best as you possibly can. um Sharaf again, what would you say is the table stakes to keep pushing on a game? CPI and D1 D3 retention. So what are the table stakes to keep pushing on a game in terms of CPI, D1 and D3?
The targets, right?
Yes.
So we're talking about a first test.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's kind of like everybody wants to know the benchmark numbers that they need to hit so they can go to the next stage. And the truth is, it
Yeah,
depends.
yeah.
But what's your take on that?
So yeah, there's a lot of different cases. If we're speaking CPI only, I think everything below 55 cents, even 60 cents, is worth a retest. Once again, if you believe that your first test didn't had 100% polished in the visuals, you can do it on a second test. Maybe you can say, okay, we have 60 cents, but it's a bit rough. So I'm gonna a bit raw. So I'm gonna improve the quality of the visuals, and maybe with just that, a better contrast, better colors, better textures, you can get it to 40 cents, and now we can talk. Obviously, below 40 cents, it starts to get to be interesting. We see that the toy seems to be there. The theme seems to be interesting. There is something innovative that catch people attention at 40 cents. And when you are at 30 cents, this is this has much more chance to be a game that could go to soft launch at some point. In case of in-game stats, in a first test, we're not expecting the moon. I'm speaking, strictly about a hyper casual game, because arcade game, arcade idle game, or hybrid game we're gonna be more demanding on the in-game metrics. But on a hyper casual game, it can be enough to have the 20% D1 and retention D1, and to have like 700, 600 seconds playtime D0. It can be enough depending on how much content you have. If you already spend a lot of time of content, and you have like 20 levels, and you have a lot of progression features, and you have 500, 600 seconds and 20% retention D1, obviously it's not a good sign. It means you have a lot of content, and players are still bored, they are still leaving your game pretty fast. But if you have one level, two level, and like no features, no progression feature, which you shouldn't have, by the way, and you have like very rough gameplay, and people are still staying like 700 seconds, more than 20% D1, obviously means that there is something in your game, and it's worth retesting.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So yeah, you don't need to build a ton of content. You need a bit in there, but the golden rule is if you build 10 minutes worth of gameplay and people are only playing for three, then they're not really staying around in your game long enough. So that should be a red flag straight away, right? Um, is it compulsory to make games watching the trend reports only? Because following the report, each and every studio will be developing a similar game. Then there won't be any uniqueness left. So is it compulsory to make games watching trend reports only? I mean, I'll let you take that from that one, Augustine, if that's all right.
Yeah. No, indeed, not only. But yeah, it's the safer option. We are still in a volume industry. You're not gonna be testing one game, publishing one game. We know it's more around, 90%, 80% game killed. So if you want to publish a game, you need to do 80 of them. So it's difficult to get 80 super innovative concept, but I think it's a good thing to try. Obviously, you should have maybe like one every five concept, one every 10 concept that is super innovative, something that go like against the trends, something that hasn't been tried, that seems a bit crazy, that just you like and you want to see on the market, and you should try. Yesterday I tried a game that I really believed in. It was a super cool concept, and we got a very bad CPI, and it happens. Some other times you're just gonna take a game that works and like change the small stuff and like pivot it in a twist some items, some elements, and you're gonna get great CPI. So you think, okay, it's too easy, but in a way, just it's also experience and knowing what works, and like reusing data from other games. And yeah, at Homa we're doing that. We have like a very big base of game we're testing. We know we have the best CPI, we have the metrics, and we are able to guide the studios to like lose as less time as possible and focus on the best game possible, best concept possible. Because some games, some ideas seems to be very innovative, but it doesn't have any chance because it has been done already, or it's too complex, or it's not clear. And some other ideas obviously are going to be too close to other ideas, not innovative enough. And this also we can prevent and try to find the right balance between testing something new, but also using a recipe and using what we know works to just help you not spend 3 weeks on something for nothing.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So the what you want to remember is that success leaves clues, and the trends are driving the market. So it if you're going to go for a wacky, out there, innovative idea, that's really high risk. But what you want to do is try and follow the market, see what's working well, but definitely add a unique twist to it. Why is yours different than the others? Or are you just making a really rubbish version of a really popular game? And if that's the case, then you're never going to win. So think about all the different experiences in your life. We've got a whole section inside the academy going of how you can twist and make unique pivots or pivots, as Augustine said, which cracks me up, by the way. But yeah, see how can you pivot on that idea and make it truly yours. I think is the best way. So don't constrain yourself to anything, but look at the charts, see what people like, and don't stray too far from that. But bring your unique twist to it. All right, it is bang on 4 o'clock. If you got any questions, get them in now, and we're going to call it in just a second. Soraya Emon, what is that? Which is a good loot based gameplay or level based gameplay? So the question is, what is a good game? Which is a kind of a tricky one. But you want to have a stab at that one? What is a good loot based gameplay or level based gameplay?
So it's, yeah, two different things, right?
Yes.
uh what is a good loop level based? Yeah, I think you need to if you want to do level based, you need to have some some features that you keep, some upgrades that you keep. You can't make player play level after level if you don't give them anything. So they need to uh you need to keep a sense of progression level per level. So either they're like building something, either they are like finding pieces of equipment, either they are upgrading their character or upgrading their vehicles. But yeah, they need to feel like the time they're spending and investing in the game is worth it, and that the way they are building their character or their house or their vehicle after level 25 is far down the road from level 1. So yeah, if it's level based, you need to be careful not to make player lose everything every level, otherwise he's just gonna quit. And yeah, the other types of games are just like not level based, it's just full based. And there you need to have diversity and like offer new exciting things to the player, and new reward every once in a while, and switch up the pace and keep player interested.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And I think overall, it's like what we comes right back to the very beginning of today's stream about that core loop. You know, is it fun to play without adding any of these meta stuff on? Are you finding yourself you're just enjoying the mechanic? And if that's the case, then you're probably onto something. But there's no 100% answer on that one. Sheriff says, "What's the best way to get this trend report?" There's loads of trend support. You can come and join us and look at all the best games coming out on our Discord, by the way. I would definitely do that and hit us up there. And Jilly says, "Can you remind us how to get our hands on the Homer Mag?" That is a great question. Thank you for reminding us. So just before I do that, I am going to say, Augustine, thank you so much for joining with me today. Give everyone give Augustine a big like on the video, and thank him for sharing all of that juicy information today. Super appreciate it. Academy users, we will have a copy of the slides inside the Academy for you to look at your leisure. Beers up, not yet, 8 happy pixels. We are just going to say goodbye to Augustine, and then I'm going to come back on and show you this gorgeous magazine. So for now, Augustine, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend, and thanks again for spending your time with us today.
Thanks a lot. Have a good day. See you, Kevin.
Amazing. Thanks, dude.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye. Alrighty, so that was pretty awesome. I think you're fine, but yeah, I am going to come back on at the end here to show you this gorgeous thing. And you know, you get like cheap magazines, which are really thin, and then you get brochures. This is brochure. This is the thing that you get sent from a fancy company sending you a fancy brochure. So look at this, is absolutely gorgeous. So if you want a copy of the hard copy that I have in my hand, this is what you got to do. You have got to like the video and subscribe to the channel, obviously, and then head on over after the stream is finished. Head on over to mag.homergames.com and you can see the online version of the magazine, and then leave a comment underneath this video. Make sure you use the Homer Mag, say I want the Homer Mag or something like that, and we will send one. We will pick out 5 winners next week on the stream. I will go through, give all the collate all the people together who's entered and do a random result. I can't speak right now. Do a random name picker out next week on the stream. So I'll pick your name out of the hat basically to get your hands on one of these. These are absolutely amazing, I promise you. It doesn't do it justice on the camera, but this is absolutely fantastic. Top quality, limited edition, especially for you guys here on the stream, right? So you got a crossword there. Think you're smart? Let's do it. There's luck, or there's us. So there you go. Make sure you do all those things. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Head over to mag.homergames.com, sign up for the online, and you can view some of the content on there. And then leave a comment under here, and we will put your name in the hat, and we will post it to you wherever you are. We will take care of the postage. Get in touch, and you can get your hands on this awesome first edition, I might add, of the Homer Mag. All right, that's going to go and wrap it up for me for now. It's a warm one. Thank you so much for everybody for joining with us today. You're awesome. You always are. Ideation show next week. We are going to come up with some new game ideas. So if you like this stuff, of course, vote with the like button. That's what helps me get all these cool people on for you guys. So show your support that way. But with all that said and done, enjoy the weather where you are. Have a great weekend. Remember, games don't make themselves. And I will see you next week. Join us over on the Discord, and I'll catch you there. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.